Start again. It's almost lunchtime, and Commissioner Tapp's getting hungry. So.
Hey! Now, you can say I need to use the bathroom all you want, but hungry, I'm not.
You guys continue this after. All right, thanks, guys. All right, Lou DeBaca. I was trying to figure out, was it one name or two names?
Exactly, I was rushing to sign up. Thank you, everybody, and when I say everybody, I especially want to thank the staff. We've really given folks from the clerk's office and sheriff's office and recorders and everybody else has done a lot of work to accommodate us over the last weeks, and we really appreciate that. We know that for you guys, we thank you not necessarily for hearing us, because that's your job, but we thank you for serving. The fact that you chose to do this means a lot to us, and even when we don't always agree, or when we can be a little demanding sometimes as your constituents, the fact that you raised your hand and that you chose to do this is something that I think helps us understand and helps us be able to have some trust in the process. I'm going to very quickly use a couple of seconds to finish Jan Hafer's thought, and that is that unfortunately the bike folks, the Potomac peddlers, have now indicated that they are rethinking continuing their relationship with Jefferson County and with Shepherdstown as the 100-mile bike ride because they are so concerned about the damage to the roads from those trucks. Not just having the trucks out there that day, we could always stop that from happening, but the roads themselves, 100 trucks a day, 7 days a week on the roads that they have chosen to come and be with us and spend $250,000 just in one day every year. So I wanted to make sure that Jan's thoughts got into the record. The president has a little poem that he says every once in a while about letting a snake into the house. Snakes lie. We know that. We've known that from the beginning, from Genesis. Snakes seduce with their eyes. We know that from the Jungle Book. They evidently seduce with Klondike bars and golf tournaments as well. There are some things that you evidently were not told about when you took votes on this and signed things earlier. And one of those things is what happens to the counties, what happens to the county governments in places where Rockwell goes. Right now, sometimes I think that the folks on JCDA and maybe even on some of you on the commission might feel like you're in a fight with us as far as us trying to be heard or coming in, whether it's late to the game or what have you. But if you look at what's happening around the world, in Croatia, years of fights with local regulators. In India, in Dahej, labor violations that they evidently have covered up with a lawsuit so much that you can't see the documentary online about the labor abuses. In Byhalia, Mississippi, the Google Earth shows brown sludge leaking from their holding tank into a nearby creek. In Milton, in addition to what Sean testified about a little bit ago, there's complaints about brown-red sludge being found in local creeks. In Sardinia, years of fights with local governments, and they pulled up and left. That's what they'll do here as well.
All right, George Miller.
George Miller, local farmer, class of '82, Jefferson High. Have a Bachelor of Science from Warren Wilson College in horticulture. I farm property out Cabletown Road in Avon Bend. I'm concerned about industrial sewage. Presently, residential sewage is spread across hundreds of acres on a nearby farm in Ripon, and that's on the western edge of the county. I live on Bullskin Run downstream. Runoff from this farm has filled Bullskin with silt over the past 21 years I've been there. May 17th, we had historic flooding. I know where the 100-year floodplain is now. It got half the property that I cultivate in cropland. Concerned about how future sewage would be handled, especially industrial sewage. I am successful because of fertile soil and clean water. Lots of alternatives. People keep talking about tourism in this area. I know of a fellow farmer at the farmers market I attend from Romney, West Virginia. He's a bit more enterprising than I am. He has purchased 4 farms, has 180 acres in orchards and produce, employs 98 people on his payroll. I think we could come up with a better use. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. All right, Mary Madelish.
Morning. It's still morning. Wheels. Thank you. Thank you for having me today and all of us here to listen to our concerns. I have been coming to a lot of these city council meetings and commission meetings and various things in the last month, and I have learned a lot. I have learned a lot about the nature of this company that wants to insert ourselves into the community. I have listened to testimony about how our county is the most wealthy, has the strongest economy, and it's economy that is based on agriculture and tourism and things that are absolutely diametrically opposite of what this plant and the industrialization of Jefferson County represents. I believe and I trust the testimony of many of our very well-informed, intelligent, and expert testimonies, and I do believe their conclusions about the danger of this, and I certainly believe their conclusions over corporate talking points and I'd say sketchy, anecdotal, quasi-scientific evidence. I want to remind you all that as a community, we're very well informed and we know what's going on. And so far, as I said, I've learned a lot, but I've learned nothing in addition from listening to any of the Rockwell presentations where they have their slick PowerPoint and they show this pretty factory and they go on and on about the wonderful product that they make while they downplay the very polluting process in order to make that. So I think that I think that we have been, or many of the representatives were swayed by these slick presentations. And I just want to remind you that we've never done this before. We have never fought a multinational corporation. But let me tell you, Rockwell has done this before. And some of the parallels between this facility here and the one in Croatia is astounding. Like here, it's a beautiful agricultural community that was located in a valley. I can't remember the name of the town, but it's in Istria, a district that borders Italy. Like us, they had a great deal of tourism. Like us, they wanted to locate the factory over an aquifer. Like us, a lot of the community rose up against it and protested. Like us, the Croatian government practically gave the property and tax incentives and so forth. They just handed to them on a silver platter, which is what I see you people doing here. Just giving them tax breaks. This is exactly the same thing. And they built their factory anyway, against the protestations of the people. And within the first year of operation, there were half a dozen citations against them for dumping toxic waste into the water supply, for superseding the limits of air pollution.
Thank you, ma'am.
So please stop this.
Martha Bunker.
Hello, my name is Martha Bunker. I'm new to Jefferson County. I just recently moved here with my husband who works in DC and my young son. We bought a house in Jefferson County because it was beautiful. It aligned with our values. And we were really quite taken aback by this whole scenario. We're quite confused by how it all came about. And after doing some simple research, it seems that this is not an issue of environmental statistics or educational statistics. It seems to come down to economics. And Rockwell does not add up to a good economic deal for Jefferson County. If you do the very simple math, if you take what Rockwell should have paid and if you take what Rockwell should have paid in taxes without the tax abatement, subtracted from the abatement amount, and then divided that amount by 150, you get a ridiculous sum of about $300,000 of taxpayer money for 150 jobs of a median income about $35,000 a year, which, if you do the math again, does not align well with the housing market in this area, which means that it's likely workers will come from elsewhere. Point is, it will cost taxpayers a lot of money for not so many jobs, which equal a terrible economic deal. According to email correspondence with one of your board members, the main concern about pulling out of the pilot is fear that it could open up the county to a lawsuit. It is legal to pull out of a deal if you have been misled, which many of you have stated that you feel that you were misled. That's all I have to say.
Mr. David Tapp. Trying to figure that out with your handwriting, but I realize there's no way. I'm giving you a hard time.
It's okay. David Tabb, Jefferson County resident, lifelong. I really appreciate all the people that came and spoke before me today, because I was running about a half an hour late, and normally I wouldn't have been able to speak because I would have been late. So it's really an honor for the people that stand up and come before this commission to take their time out of their day and be heard. There's one problem with that. The agenda sheet used to have all the agenda. Used to. Now it's just 3 pages. It's supposed to have all the minutes and everything attached to it. So if you approve this, it didn't get approved. Also, I'm on the agenda today, and I wasn't invited. It's on agenda number 7, discussion Jefferson County Civil Action 2018 P132. Here's the order. The people have been talking about there's going to be lawsuits. It's already here. You have struck the public comment, which I'm accustomed to for over 25 years. I have literally hundreds, maybe even over 1,000, of public comments with my name and a summary of what I spoke about. And since August the 2nd, it no longer exists. That's what this lawsuit's about. You've broken the law. So, you did that in front of us. So what have you done behind our back? Well, we're getting a good idea. Also, on the water line, there's no contracts. There's no competitive bids. Ranson, in June of 17, worked on changing their rules so that there was no height limit, and it was actually said that this was done so that there wouldn't have to be any public hearings. That's being transcribed right now. It will be coming in front of you. I've asked 2 simple questions. How much salt going down the sewer line, or what's going to be in the sewer line? And at the Saturday meeting, Roxville, they didn't know. I asked them how much solid waste and where it's going to go. They don't know. I contacted Senator Manchin and Governor Justice and spoke with them yesterday. And they're upset that I didn't get an answer, and they're working on it. So, I bring you greetings from those two people that I consider them just people, not elected officials, because they can talk to me like some other people can't. So, with all this that's going on, I applaud the efforts of our community, because again, you're supposed to be working for us, not the other way around. I have quite a few $1,000s that I'm getting ready to pay my
Thank you, sir.
taxes. Y'all have a nice day.
All right, Mary Lynn Richford.
Hi, I'm Mary Lynn Richford, and I live in Fairfax Crossing, Ranson. And you probably got my nasty, threatening email to you and to also Ranson is getting a copy of that. And I sent a copy to both newspapers, and they're delighted to publish that, including who it went out to. So that'll be coming at least in the Martinsburg Journal. I don't want to be here threatening you because I think you are very dedicated, hardworking people who do this for the benefit of the community. And I think that people make mistakes even when they have been entrusted with things that they need to do. So I think you probably got bad information. So anyway, I would just suggest that you do this. Please, whatever you need to do to stop it, we can handle the lawsuits for the reasons already expressed. But regarding the sewer and water lines, whatever you can do to stop that and any transportation issues. I'm so mad about this, I moved here to be near my grandkids. They're packing up. They're leaving, which is crazy. But I'm so angry that I'm going to put my name in to run for the Ranson City Council because whatever they were doing, they were asleep at the switch, and I think they have a chance to change things. I am positive that you are going to do the right thing and try to make this turn around. And then again, there's always, I'm from New York, and we up there have this, huge monster fly swatter at the polling booth, and we will get rid of people who don't, not to be vindictive, but to protect our kids. Thank you.
All right, so I don't have any more names. Does anybody want to speak that has not spoken? Raise your hand. Okay, with that in mind, we're going to move on to the normal agenda. So, and just one last brief thing. There was a lot of requests made during public comment. The commission can only act on anything that's specifically on the agenda. So we can't create something that has not been posted previously. So just keep that in mind. Maybe subsequent meetings, other agenda items will be added. So next week there's another meeting. So we'll just take those comments into consideration. Very quick, ma'am.
Can you explain the process of how to get on the agenda? How does one request that?
Okay, so like I
Timeline?
said before, Steph.
It's on our website. There's an agenda request form, and in fact, there's a policy on our website that tells you exactly how to get on the agenda. If you go to our website, www.jeffersoncountywv.org, and you go under the commission, you'll see all of our policies and the agenda request form as well, and the deadlines when those have to be submitted, and everything. And if you have any questions, you can always contact our office.
Just like one representative of the whole group, just for time purposes. We'll still have public comment, obviously. Just if you want to put one representative up for your entire group and they can do the agenda, that's perfectly fine. Okay.
Yeah, the people that handed you what they were going to say, will that show up anywhere?
I mean,
I've got it right here, and we're going to be creating. Gotten so much information from that I'm going to create a file for it.
we'll obviously all read them, the commissioners, because we have them in hand copies. So.
Will that file be publicly accessible?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on now. I appreciate everybody coming out today and us hearing you all. All right, so next up on the agenda is Miss Angie Banks, assessor. You told me you have like 50 exonerations.
No, it's not too bad. They're starting to, it'll be less and less each time. It's just always more when they first get their tax bills and they
Right.
realize they didn't report something correctly, or
don't own that
sometimes we
car
make a
anymore.
mistake. Exactly. So this first exoneration is in our 2018 personal property book, Harpers Ferry District. The applicant did not own the 2000 Chevy truck July 1st, 2017. Assessed value $1,700, tax amount $39.94. Applicant is Raymond and Vivian Whalen, ticket number 309200.
I move that the commission authorize the exoneration of ticket number 309200 as presented by the assessor.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
This one's in our 2018 personal property book, Middleway District. Applicant did not own the 2012 Nissan Pathfinder on July 1st, 2017. Assessed value $6,900, tax amount $162.12. Applicant is Paul Burdick, ticket number 311835.
I move we approve the exoneration ticket number 311835 as presented by the assessor.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
This one's in our 2018 personal property book, Harpers Ferry District. The 2015 open range camper should not have been assessed here. It was assessed in Randolph County, so they got double assessed. And it was actually located in Randolph County. Assessed value $15,600, tax amount $366.54. Applicant is Perry Nutter, ticket number 308505.
I move the approval of the exoneration for ticket number 308505 as presented by the assessor.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
This one's in our 2018 personal property book, Middleway District. Applicant did not own the 2007 Mazda on July 1st, 2017. Assessed value $1,600, tax amount $37.59. Applicant is Jamie Foltz, ticket number 312269.
I move we approve the exoneration ticket number 312269 as presented by the assessor.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
This one's in our 2018 real estate book, Cabletown District. Real estate was assessed in Class 3 and should have been assessed in Class 2. Assessed value $169,390 and tax amount $1,990. Applicant is George White, ticket number 19959.
I move approval of the exoneration for ticket number 19959 as presented by the assessor.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And this is the last one. It's in our 2018 real property book. It is located in Shepherdstown District. This parcel was assessed in both Berkeley and Jefferson County. And what happened is the applicant built a house in Berkeley County, and the larger value of the property was then in Berkeley County because the land straddled the line.
Oh, okay.
And for some reason, we weren't notified, so we still assessed it here, but without a house. It was vacant farmland. So anyway, it just needs to be exonerated, and we'll deactivate the parcel for next year. Tax amount is $344.22. and the assessed value was $29,300. Applicant is Michael Valesic, ticket number 28227.
I'll move approval of the exoneration for ticket number 28227 as presented by the assessor.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to number 2. Sheriff Daughtry, Michelle Gordon, Finance Director, resolution to authorize the submission of the Governor's Highway Safety Program grant and for the grant period 10/1/18 through 9/30/19. How you guys doing?
Good morning. We talked about this before. This is basically what it does is it takes the existing grant that we have, it expands it somewhat more, so we would have some administrative responsibility for some of the municipal jurisdictions and some other county jurisdictions. The benefit to the county is right now, when deputies work under Governor's Highway Safety, they pay the full salary. Under this, they will pay the full salary and all the fringe benefits, which is a significant amount of money. I just want to also, I told Michelle before this started, I went back and looked. We have 1.2 million vehicle miles a day driven in Jefferson County, 435 million vehicle miles in the county every year. We are the largest vehicle traffic county in the state that does not have an interstate highway in the county. And while we need to get you to formally approve it, I also want you to know while I was here earlier, we were in a conversation about some grants that I told you all about at the last meeting. We've been tentatively told we'll get about $110,000 in grant funding from the state under that as well. So we keep trying to bring more resources in and save local taxpayers money.
Who do you know down there?
We work hard. We're number one in going after that.
And then I included some information in the packet. First was a breakdown by jurisdictions, which is our preliminary request of $235,000. The sheriff's office would receive approximately $217,000 of that. And that is to continue on with the salaries of those 2 officers who were funded last fiscal year. So they we're requesting that we continue their funding for this fiscal year. It also is requesting speed enforcement for some of the towns in our county, as well as Hardy County, Grant County, and Pendleton County. It's also requesting equipment for e-citation equipment, and the rest all has to do with speed enforcement or safety enforcement. The budget resolution that I included says that we are authorizing the sheriff to submit a state grant application in the amount of, up to the amount of $350,000. The reason we're not including it for the amount of $235,000 is that this grant has appropriations that they receive throughout the year. For example, the safety enforcement is for a 6-month period, so that means they'll get another allotment in 6 months. So rather than come to you each time they have an allotment, we're allowing him to receive funding up to $350,000 during the fiscal year. The resolution also authorizes, let's see, sheriff to sign any grant awards once they've come in and been awarded, and the county has agreed to assist those other jurisdictions if funds are awarded through the grant. And those non-county jurisdictions include Ranson, Charlestown, Shepherdstown, Moorfield, Hardy County, Grant County, Pendleton County, and Harpers Ferry Police Departments. Do you have any questions about that?
I'm assuming there's no match. I'm hoping there's no match required besides what we already provide.
No, there are no matches required, and
then for the sheriff, there's something called Occupant Protection 405B. What is that? It's a relatively small amount, $40,000.
the 405B has not been awarded yet. They have not received the funding. That will be awarded in May for $7,250. The traffic record safety of 405C is $40,000 for the e-citation
Okay.
equipment.
But
It's
what
Cricket,
is
it's Cricket
C-
or Ticket.
Huh?
It's clicket or ticket enforcement.
Okay, all
There's a
right.
couple of times during the year where the state wants us to work sort of border to border,
Okay.
county to county, to sort of make sure people are in their seatbelts properly.
I didn't know what the acronym meant, so, okay, I got you now. All
In
right.
that case, I move to approve the resolution for the Governor's Highway Safety Program grant application and acceptance of future awarded grant funds in the amount not to exceed $350,000.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, sir.
And I have the resolution as well as the grant application here to be signed.
Hey, Stephanie, can you tell Bill and Nathan we're going to do them this afternoon?
These grants have lots of pages.
All right, next up is Rhonda Eddy, Jefferson County Day Report Center, approval of grant resolution and contract. Don't worry, Jane.
Good morning. I'm Rhonda Eddy, the Director of the Jefferson Day Report Center, and I brought along two of our new employees that I wanted to introduce to the Commission. Kelly Franklin she began her career in criminal justice with parole services in Martinsburg. In fact, she was the regional director for Region 7, which encompasses the 7-county region and includes the Eastern Panhandle. She left there and went to work for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers before returning back to West Virginia at the Day Report Center in March of 2018. She's a graduate of Shepherd University and earned her Master's of Arts in Criminal Justice from APU, and we're very happy to have her on board as a case manager. To my left here is David Bowles. He's a former Marine with many years of service to the Department of Defense in battle simulations and counterintelligence operations. He settled in Jefferson County and became a parole and probation officer, and he brings his law enforcement experience to the Jefferson Day Report Center as a case manager. David graduated with honors from the University of Maryland and with a Bachelor's of Science in Business and Management. So we're very happy to have them on board. I'm coming in today because we were awarded $140,000 of community corrections funds. We were able to sustain our level of funding that we received last year. In addition to the community corrections grant, we had a good grant year. Back in October, we applied for a grant through the Division of Justice and Community Service, a comprehensive opioid abuse site-based program grant, and we were awarded $175,000 for telehealth. And in fact, we're a broadcaster. Our providers are now broadcasting to day report centers in rural areas of the state that are without providers. In fact, we just started with Tucker County, and there's a grant opportunity that's been released now for other day reports in the state in those rural and underserved areas to contract with us through this grant to use our providers. So we were awarded $175,000, and we were notified of that in April. And then we received our Justice Reinvestment Treatment Supervision Grant. Just recently, we were awarded $115,000, which was an increase in what we received the year before of about $7,500. So we're really pleased. So we were happy that we were able to bring the grant money back to Jefferson County, and certainly want to thank the Commission for your support, because we would not be able to apply for these grants if we didn't have the support of the Commission for that basic program of our community corrections program. I just would like to share a little bit more information with you while I have you here. Under our telehealth, we started telehealth in October of 2016. And the numbers that we have here from October 1st through August 30th, which would cover the time period that we have this telehealth grant, our physicians conducted 850 telehealth sessions. And if we go back to July, the beginning of the grant year last year, we were just under 1,200 sessions of telehealth. And then with our other providers, our 4 psychologists, from July 1st through June 30th, which would have been the last fiscal year, we had 2,698 patient encounters. That means an encounter with a physician, an independently licensed psychologist, and with over 4,000 procedures. So we do a lot of work down there. And in fact, on top of that, in that same period of time, we have several labs that we use for different things, some for medical and the ones for supervision. The numbers for supervision, we conducted 3,667 drug screens in that period of time. So we do a lot of work with a limited amount of people down there. So I have the grant contract. If you want to...
I'll move we approve the resolution contracting grant document 19-CC-07 in the amount of $140,000 and to authorize the President of the Commission to affix his signature to the appropriate documents.
Second.
Any discussion?
Well done.
Rhonda's amazing at securing these grants. You know, she's a terrific grant writer, and we've been blessed to have her in the county. She's done a lot to help with the epidemic that we are facing with the opioid crisis, and nice job, Rhonda. We're really fortunate to have you here.
Thank you.
You've taken us far beyond whatever, where we thought we could go.
At a
I've had a lot of good help.
At a
we
time
really
we really
needed
needed it. That's right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I just have one question, and, it's always about matching funds. And I look at number 16, and so you're okay with that matching contribution. You have to use resources to defray the portion of the total cost and all that. So what does that mean?
The matching funds come out of the allocation that the county gives us. So
That's
it's
what I
covered with
assumed,
that.
but I wanted to make sure, yeah.
Right. The other 2 grants don't require matching funds, just the community corrections grant.
We really like those.
We do too.
What you and the sheriff are doing, but keep it up.
Yeah, right. All right, we got to vote.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All righty. I hope you have a blue pen. Does it matter?
I got them all here for you.
Just so everybody's aware, item number 6 and 7 will be discussed this afternoon.
So do you have a blue pen?
Stephanie, do you have a blue pen?
I have an arsenal of blue pens, so.
I have one in my bag.
This is a resolution.
Okay, yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, guys, and welcome.
Thank you for all your work, and it can be challenging.
All right, we're going to move to number 4, interviews and appointments to Jefferson County Board of Zoning Appeals, one unexpired term ending January 1st, 2021. Has anybody applied?
We only have one applicant.
Is he present?
He is not present today. He cannot make it today. And we'll also have another appointment for an unexpired term.
On the BZA?
On the BZA.
Okay,
You know,
so
here's the problem, and before we move on, Right now, the BZA can only function if all of the BZA members are present. There's only 3 left. That's the quorum, which means they have to show up at every BZA hearing or whatever. An additional member of the BZA provides some relief in that. Now, I don't know Mr. Blood. I would like to have a chance to ask some questions and look him in the eye. And the reason is, he's currently the head of the owner of Blackwell Property Management, and when I look at the description of what they do, that in and of itself is not a disqualifier, but I just like to ask him because I don't want to have conflicts of interest or something like that when he's ruling on property and zoning and that kind of stuff. So on the one hand, I feel pulled to say, yeah, Christ, we got somebody, we got a live one, let's move him in. On the other hand, I'm...
I mean, I agree, and I mean, it seems like the community will probably be more than happy to put their names in the hat right now, right, guys? Zoning, county zoning board of appeal. I mean, we're probably gonna have like 100
The BZA,
applicants tomorrow, right?
yeah. And I mean, yeah, it's the Board of Zoning Appeals. It's a volunteer position. We advertise in the paper, on our website, on our Facebook page.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should hold off on this and re-advertise until we get more applicants. So
I agree. It's a very, you're semi-judicial in what you're doing, and you have to understand the planning and zoning ordinances because they come to you for appeals, so it's an important job.
That shouldn't be a deterrent from applying. You can learn those ordinances just because you may not be familiar. Yeah, okay.
But you wouldn't, somebody take it seriously.
We have over 9,000 members now. I'm sure there's somebody that can grasp it.
Well, you know,
Well, you don't learn it overnight. Nobody does, but I'm just
look
saying
at-
it's an
look-
important
Look at the
position.
announcement on the county website, and please, by all means, this is a board that constantly meets. And right now, all of them have to come. Nobody can be out of town for the week that they're meeting or whatever. And people who have zoning and property, I'm trying to think, planning and zoning requests and stuff like that, this is their appeal process. So this is the board that adjudicates that kind of stuff. Now, the one requirement is you cannot be a member of any other county board.
Just a point of information, how many board members are there now, and how many should there be at a maximum?
just, unfortunately, we can't do this. I mean, direct all questions to the county administrator after the meeting will be best. All right, so that, it sounds like everybody wants to hold off on this until we get more
I
applicants.
think it's the best
I
thing
think
to
it's
do.
6
Okay, so-
on the
It's five,
BZ.
it's 5 on the BZA with 2. We try to have 2 alternates because there was a time when we had members who were disqualified from hearing cases. We actually got sued over that because we couldn't make a decision on applicants. So it is important that that board have a full membership.
Okay. So if you're interested, please contact the commission office. Stephanie or Jessica Carroll will be more than happy to help you out. Okay, so we're going to move on. 6 and 7 will be this afternoon after 1:30. Just quick thing, the 1:30 public hearing, there may be some confusion. This is just the county commission essentially applying for a grant offered through HUD to map the county and what areas of the county are prone, have no internet, have internet, et cetera. This is not a full-blown push out of internet service in the county or infrastructure or anything like that.
It's to determine whether, it's to actually authorize a study or an analysis to be performed to areas that are underserved or not served.
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah, determine where those places are.
And this is just that, right now, we're getting public input in preparation for applying for the grant. And once we have done that, there will be opportunities for citizen participation throughout the grant process.
So there's another opportunity for citizens to get involved. All right, so we'll move on to new business number 8, DEP presentation request.
Yeah. In the course of the past month, there have been questions raised as to the role of the Department of Environmental Protection, how they go about receiving applications, how they go about issuing permits, and with an obvious interest in the Rockwell case. And what I'd like to do is make a motion that the county commission authorize the county administrator to send a letter to the Department of Environmental Protection inviting them to make a presentation before a public presentation before this commission explaining the application and permitting process, what it is that they do, with an emphasis on what they did in the Rockwell case. This would be similar to the letter we asked you to write requesting the PSC hold their Mountaineer gas hearing here in the county.
All right, I actually want to amend your motion. Can we add and subsequently take comments or questions from residents in Jefferson County? I mean, the DEP works for taxpayers as we do. They should be more than happy to take their questions.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be.
I have a suggestion for that. If we could get some of those questions in advance, so they have time to research the answers, that would be great. It wouldn't preclude people from asking questions on the fly, but having been in a position where I have to answer questions on the fly, sometimes it's nice to be able to go and say, and look up the permitting, what was filed, and look through the filings, so that they have answers ready.
Yeah, because they can't know everything all the time.
I'm not
And
precluding
without those
people- right.
questions,
Yeah.
without those questions in advance, they may not have the answer until a later time. So I think it's only fair for them to be, if people want the answers to their questions, they know what the questions are.
Okay, so I'm okay with some of that. The problem is, these are, oh, sorry, Jane. Go ahead.
No, my other issue that I wanted the DEP to address was to explain how a facility does self-monitoring. I want to understand the physical part of how it works and how the information is transmitted.
And so forth.
I personally, I agree with that totally, too. I think questions on the fly are better. These are the experts, right? They should know this stuff like, procedurally, if there's a procedure question, that's fine, I think. But if it's like a pollution question, these are experts, right?
Yeah, but you don't know who they're going to send down.
Well, they should probably send an expert if it's pollution related, so.
Well,
Hey, give it a shot, see what happens.
So, and it's fine, I
I
mean.
can tell you.
Why wouldn't they know the answers?
We can't
I
have
mean,
a
yeah,
conversation.
we're not scientists or air quality experts.
Josh,
I mean,
Josh,
yeah,
Josh, don't get
yeah,
into the
ma'am,
conversation.
all right, sorry. Okay, so, any further discussion? Oh, is there a second, or?
I'll second it.
It's been amended.
It's been amended a few times.
What's the,
Mine
What
isn't
is
an
the
amendment, 'cause
motion?
I don't have a vote, so.
Okay, so
It's just a
I think the amendment was to instruct the county administrator to send a letter to the West Virginia DEP asking them to come speak to the county commission, and subsequently take prepared questions and non-prepared questions and give us clarification on what self-monitoring is. Is that right?
Yeah, that works.
Okay,
Whose
I'll
motion is
second.
it?
It's Peter's motion, so I'll
Okay,
second it.
and you restated it, okay.
was that your motion, Peter?
Yeah, I'm fine with the amendment.
Just, I'll second Peter's motion. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, the second one, number 9, also mine. Over the past month, a lot of questions about pilot agreements, how they work, and thought occurred to me that we have to come up with a mechanism, and I'm offering this right now for, I'm introducing it. There's a lot of groundwork and thinking that's going to have to go into making something out of it. First of all, I don't even know if what I'm thinking of is legal. There may be other things that are kind of similar that are within our purview. So we need to think about this and do a little bit of research. The other thing is, since the school board takes 80% of the property taxes, they would have a big say in what I'm thinking of. But basically, what I'm thinking of is the theory that you give a tax break to an entity you ramp up or not, but once they start moving production out of the front door, then they pay full freight. And obviously, at that time, their property value is higher than when they just take a piece of undeveloped property. And I'm thinking, supposing somebody wanted to open a mom and pop, supposing there was an abandoned gasoline station that they wanted to refurbish, recondition, and turn into some sort of a store or something like that. A winery takes 5 years to before they start rolling production out of the front door and selling it. And even something, not that we need another McDonald's, but even that, where they're going to build a building and something along that line. So in order to encourage entrepreneurship and to recognize that this kind of stuff does take an investment on the part of the entrepreneur before any kind of profit is realized, what I'd like to do is to research, get Michelle involved in it, get Nathan in terms of the legal stuff. I'm not going to make a motion right now. I'm just laying this on the table, and I'm thinking, you know, can this be made available to anybody, either within or without of the county, in order to encourage entrepreneurship? So I'll just lay that. There's no motion or anything like that, but I'd like to get input from our finance director, from legal counsel, from whatever. I've witnessed this at the end of the meeting with the JCDA yesterday, and legal counsel there had some questions as to whether we have the authority to do it, but if not, then I'm sure we can come up with something like it. But everybody that I've talked to seems to think it's a good idea, so I'd like to get into the not today, but...
Any comments by any commissioners?
Well, I just want, and it's not exactly along the same avenues what Peter's discussing. I just think we need legal counsel on reviewing our pilot agreement and any options we may have. If you want me, I can make that into a separate agenda.
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to put on the agenda next week, that's fine. All right, any other further comments on the pilot? I think, I mean, if it's a possibility, I think it's a good idea. I mean...
Yeah, we'll just have to see where we end up. I mean, I don't know if we have the authority to do it or not, but we ought to be able to do something to encourage entrepreneurship.
All right, nothing further. Is your administrator reports quick?
Yes, I only have one thing, and I would like to do it right now.
Okay, that's perfect.
The reason
Have
why
at
is
it.
because I have received, after the agenda was posted, the city of Charlestown notified me that they would like to use the courthouse lawn for a band during their car show on Saturday. They would be responsible for all cleanup, but they're going to put them on the lawn. They're set up and cleanup. They'd be gone by 6 p.m. I told him that I would have to ask you in order to authorize that.
A car on the lawn or a band
No,
on
a
the lawn?
band.
You're going to tear the lawn up? Have you talked to Bill or anything?
He did not indicate that he would, but I can give him, if granting him permission, saying if there's any damage to the lawn, Charlestown will be responsible for restoring it to the way it looked before they put the band there.
I don't know what kind of band it is, but they can probably get a little rowdy on rip up all the grass.
At the car
or something.
show.
Somebody can.
Hey, man,
Might be
I got
symphonic
sports cars
now.
too, man. I know how these things go.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
do they have any idea how much we spent on that?
Let's ask Bill this
Yes.
afternoon.
Well, and he contacted Bill first, and Bill said he did not have a problem with it.
Okay.
As long as they're going to be responsible for any
All right.
repairs or damages.
Don't mash down.
And that's, I mean, I would condition it upon that.
Okay, so you need a motion though, don't you?
I don't think I need a
You don't need a
motion. I
motion
just
for
think,
that?
I mean, they're gonna, it's in Charlestown. I don't want to grant permission without you all knowing that I told them they could put a band on the courthouse
So,
lawn.
all right. All right, so we're going to recess until 1:30 when we'll have a public hearing for the development grant for broadband and for agenda items 6 and 7. So thank you guys for coming out.